Very rarely do CEOs of companies speak out against the state of the industry because they are afraid of losing their position within it and being attacked constantly by people in the mainstream media or dividing their fan bases. And now the No Rest for the Wicked CEO is warning gamers to be careful regarding optimism for The Elder Scrolls 6 and The Witcher 4. So Thomas Mahler, the CEO of Moon Studios, who has been very vocal in recent times, has warned gamers to be careful regarding optimism. So in a thread reacting to Rebel Wolves' debut trailer for The Blood of Dawn Walker, which does look very cool, may I add, he initially shared his thoughts on the game, saying, "This looks really good. It's been some time since I've seen an interesting take like that from a AAA studio. It's a very intriguing angle. But ultimately, I hope a lot of effort is being put into combat mechanics. Witcher 3 was brilliant in terms of story, but I couldn't play that game anymore simply due to its core gameplay." Then people are talking about how I dislike the gameplay as well. Story was phenomenal, and that's what everyone will be expecting from The Witcher 4, so I hope they will deliver. As for Dawn Walker, really excited for the game. I hope the next trailer receives more attention. And he had said, Witcher 3 came out 10 years ago, and Witcher 4 isn't being made by the same people that made The Witcher 3, so I think we have to be careful regarding optimism. People expect Bethesda to make the next Skyrim, but the game's development is all about the people behind the scenes and the team who made Skyrim. What it doesn't exist anymore. Brand means nothing. Talented teams are everything, and I say this all the time. Just because a studio has made an amazing game that you might love in the past doesn't mean they will ever be able to replicate that in the future. Look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Rocksteady is a shell of the company they once were, and that's why Kill the Justice League ended up being so bad, because they hired activists, they didn't hire really talented, passionate developers, they didn't care about the source material, and so they threw away the Arkhamverse games that made them super successful in the first place and decided to go in the direction of the new modern audience game, KTJL, and it was a disaster. Nobody ended up liking it. It lost them over $200 million, and the same could happen with a company even the size of Bethesda or CD Projekt Red. You cannot just blindly trust companies anymore, and that is sad to say because I would love to still have like blind brand recognition, but it's just not the case within this industry anymore. Somebody else said, is it the same with Rockstar, but they seem to be the only studio taking their time. Bethesda needs a new engine. If Rockstar made Red Dead Redemption 3 with the same engine, it wouldn't be ideal, but I don't think anyone would really complain. And Thomas said, oh, for sure. And it was the same with Blizzard and Diablo. 10 years is a long time, and sadly, sometimes people disband. Even the Beatles broke up at some point. And what we have going on in gaming is that someone took the dead Beatles corpse and keeps making music without John, Paul, George, and Ringo, which is so freaking true. It's sad that this is the state of the industry, but companies know that if they keep using these characters' names and these popular IP names, they can make money even if it is a pile of trash. I mean, Rocksteady right now is apparently looking at making an Arkham Asylum remake with a lot of the team members that made Kill the Justice League. That is a disgrace, and it wouldn't turn out well, but they know the Arkhamverse will sell if they can bring back Batman. The major problem with KTJL is that they didn't have Batman and they disrespected his legacy, and so many companies are doing that right now. It's like The Witcher. Even though Ciri is now supposed to be a Witcher, she is not the Witcher, therefore they should have called it something else, but they're not going to because they know that people remember the Witcher games and they know the name and that they'll show up and buy it just because of that. And since we don't have a lot of information on a game like Elder Scrolls 6, I don't want to sit here and tell you guys to be super worried and think it's going to be a disaster because we know nothing about it. Maybe it will come out and it will be spectacular and it will be phenomenal, but keep in mind Bethesda's track record over the past couple of years, especially with a game like Starfield. It released, it was buggy, it was broken, it wasn't the 10 out of 10 experience people had been expecting, and it ended up disappointing. Nobody even played the DLC they came out with only a few months ago. So, of course, always research the companies you want to support. Always keep an eye on the projects that you may want to monetarily support going forward. But Thomas Mahler here is correct that you have to be careful regarding optimism for basically any game because companies are greedy. They will put in the least amount of effort possible. And when core teams change, you can't expect the new teams to be able to completely replicate what the older teams did. And that's when you get into murky waters because you end up being extremely disappointed. So these are all games I'll be talking about more in the future. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.